Hello, and welcome to Good Life Cafe, where community is served hot and fresh weekly. From the two women who brought you decades between with their unique perspectives on topics relating to health, wellness, and more, here are Deb and Katie.
Hey everyone, it's Katie.
Hi guys, it's Deb.
We're here talking to you today about body image and body positivity. Before we jump in, I want to start with this quote by Betty Jamie. It reads, "Comparison with myself brings improvement. Comparison with others brings discontent."
And when we think of body image or body positivity, I think it's different for everybody, and yet there's so many similarities. So at any age, because Katie's a number of decades younger than I am, but we still, when we talk about this together, we struggle with some of the very same issues. And sometimes it has to do more with your personality. Maybe some people just really don't care what other people think of them, but others of us, it does matter. And most of us, I think, tend to gauge ourselves by others' responses and reactions to us. So it is an individual struggle, but it's kind of a universal struggle too, I think. And it's applicable at any age. I mean, like I'm saying, there's decades between us, but we still deal with some of the same stuff. And I think that when we talk about it together, and if we can have a community that talks about this together, we can potentially come up with some really good tools and ways that we can kind of trigger ideas that will help us get past the idea that we're comparing ourselves with others, or we don't ever measure up, or, oh, I'm never going to succeed, and try to work at the acceptance that comes from just being okay with who we are and owning it and celebrating that.
Definitely. So I want to kind of get into our own personal stories a little bit, just to give you something to go off of, and hopefully we'll relate a little bit. So I know for me, I started out thinking about the world and about myself when I was about 11 or 12, and I was really overconfident at that point in my life. I wouldn't even call it being secure in myself, because it was so much more than that. It was almost as though I had this huge ego and I just really thought I was all that. I really struggled with feeling like I was better than everybody else, or feeling like I, was this amazing, fantastic person. And I don't think that showed very much, because I still made a point to try and humble myself when I could, but that was a struggle, so much so that I actually flipped completely in high school and went the total opposite direction. I gained a lot of weight my junior year in high school. I was really stressed out, and when I get stressed, I gain weight. I gained about 30 pounds just in my junior year of high school, and I didn't even notice it until the end of junior year, and I looked at a picture from sophomore year, and I was like, what happened to me? And I beat myself up about it. I felt horrible about myself. I became obsessed with the number on the scale and with what I was eating. All of those things really started to drag me down. It's been about a year and a half since that time in my life, and I got on the keto diet. I lost a lot of weight. I got back to looking like I did freshman, sophomore year of high school. But I still found that I was struggling because I felt insecure about my weight. I still feel insecure about my weight, even though I am active. I don't eat a whole lot of junk all the time, but I'm still struggling with my relationship with the food that I eat and with the amount of exercise I do, and my relationship with my body. Really, I feel like I haven't come completely around yet, but I'm getting there. And all that to say, there's a cycle that we all have to go through, that basically we can get really high up and feel really good about ourselves, and then drop really low and feel really terrible about ourselves. And eventually it comes to a balance and it evens out and we feel good, but not too good. And we get there, but it takes a long time and it takes a lot of work.
Well, and I think to Katie's point too, I'm her grandma. I've been around that whole time, and I would not have identified some of the things that she was going through. And we're close. We love each other and get along really well. And I shared in her life when she was little. They were lived much closer. Now they're, she's halfway around the country, um, but I had no idea that she struggled with these areas. I just thought she is amazing. This little 12-year-old who can sing and dance and entertain and just had such a seeming perfect confidence. But to know now that was part of that cycle, like she's talking about, of struggle, is an eye opener for me. And I love that we can share this together, and hopefully with others of you who can relate. When I was like 8 years old, my family went through a big crisis, and I put on a ton of weight, and it was really odd. My mom took me to the doctor, like, what's going on? And so, like Katie said, in response to stress, she puts on weight. My mom tells me that I wasn't eating anymore, but somehow my body was holding on to everything I ate, and my metabolism closed down, and I became this chubby little adolescent. And the first time I heard that word was from the doctor, and it stuck. I mean, I still have a mental image in my mind of being chubby all the time, even at my lowest weight. And I also relate to Katie in that element of I feel great when the scale's low and my clothes fit well. But, those times, those cycles, those seasons when not so much, and I've had a few of those over the decades, my self-worth plummets. And I don't feel like I even want to go out and participate in things that I really enjoy. So there's an element of depression that comes with it. That number on the scale drives my day still. So, it's not something that I got a handle on this, everything's great now. But I tell you what, even the process of these blogs this week and the things that Katie has shared, and I hope you're checking out the blog posts. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram, and you can subscribe to the email at Decades Between. But those have literally supercharged my week. And I went from Monday and Tuesday being horrible this week, really struggling with that number on the scale, to a balance again of acceptance and moving forward. So, I think those cycles are going to come and go. I don't think we're ever going to just get it, but hopefully in this process, we can share together and grab things that are going to help us move past those more quickly and get our self-worth and our positivity and our body image and all of that from something else. And so, yeah, let's keep pursuing that.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think even what we're doing right now is really important because I think it's hard for, especially both of our generations do this. It's hard for us to feel like we can relate to each other. I know my generation gives your generation a whole lot of pushback, and
Oh, yeah.
I know your generation does the same for my generation. And I think really what we're about here at Decades Between is forming that community and understanding that we can relate to each other and we can communicate with each other in a way that's really effective and in a way that really makes us better people. I know I have a lot to learn from you, and I'm sure you would say the same thing about me. Our generations have a lot to learn from each other because your generation has a lot of experience and a lot of wisdom. My generation has a lot of new ideas and a lot of new views in the world. And so I think that if we can really learn to understand that we all go through the same struggles, even when we're, you know, 2 generations apart. We all go through the same things and we all go through the same struggles. So that was just a little sidebar, but
well, I love that, and I think it's really helpful to remind our audience and even remind each other that the strengths that we bring to this are cement. They're really good things, but there's also needs to be real flexibility and acceptance. And when you challenge my thinking, my first response a lot of times is, "Well, no, wait a minute." And then I think about it and go, "No, you know what? That's a really good idea." And hopefully it's keeping me younger because I'm thinking younger because of you. So thank you.
Yes, of course. I'm happy to bring new perspectives, just like I'm happy to listen to yours. Moving forward, we kind of want to talk about some outside influences that can really affect the way we feel about our bodies and about ourselves. So one thing that really a lot of people talk about that affects our body image is social media. we scroll through Instagram and see 20,000 pictures of beautiful women with their lives together, with perfect hands, perfect bodies. They work out every day. They have their makeup like down packed. It looks gorgeous every time. Their hair looks fantastic, even in the middle of a workout. It's like, how do you even do this? But I think
it's impossible.
that,
Come on.
right. I forget where I heard this, but someone said to stop comparing somebody else's chosen reality with your real reality. And I believe it was Julia Ledbetter. I don't know if you guys follow her on Instagram, but she is so cool, so inspirational. But she talks a lot about owning your reality, and really like this whole idea of comparing yourself when you're sitting on your couch in your sweats with your hair a mess, no makeup, to that girl who took 50 photos, put them through Photoshop, and picked one
to get
specific
the perfect one.
Exactly. Like, stop comparing that has been sifted through all of their filters, and they can pick and choose what they let you see. Stop comparing that to your real self and how you are on a daily basis, how you look when you're scrolling through Instagram on your phone, on your couch, at 10 o'clock at night with your hair up and no makeup done in your sweats. Like, there's no...
how many of us ever post that? I mean, there are a few. There are a few out there that do that, and kudos to them.
Mad respect.
Exactly. And I'm listening to you do that, and I'm like, I would be the one that would want to make sure everything was photoshopped and make it look thinner and nicer, because to put that out there in social media unfiltered, yikes. I mean, that's scary, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's not even just because of social media that we feel this way. We're going to have these feelings about ourselves whether or not we have Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook or whatever it is that we're seeing everybody else on. You can walk down the street, walk through the mall, whatever, and see, oh my gosh, I do this all the time. Walking through the mall, and there's these like 8th, 9th grade girls that look like they're 25, their hair is perfect, their outfits are adorable. Like, what are you doing? Like,
how does that even happen?
When I was 13 or 14, I was wearing sweatpants, like Harry Potter t-shirts, and
I remember
snapbacks, like
adorable.
Batman snapbacks. Like, how is it that you're 14 years old and you look like better than I do now? How?
Exactly.
This can happen.
And too, I mean, at my age, the people that I'm looking at are not typically my age that I'm wanting to be like. It's the one, and when I look back, I wasn't so bad, my 20s and 30s. And I'm trying to compare me now to me even comparing me to now to me then is unrealistic. A lot's changed. There's a lot of gravity going on, along with other things. So just the unrealistic comparisons that we do, with social media, even with our peers, or people like that we run into at the mall, it's not fair to ourselves. We're being so mean to ourselves and hard on ourselves.
Yes. Something that I know has inspired me a lot, and I know it's also been an inspiration for you, is really taking the idea of don't say anything to yourself that you wouldn't say to a friend it's huge. It's so important because a lot of the times, like, we hype our friends up. When our friends get dressed and they look cute, they do their hair, they do their makeup, like, we are right there hyping them up, like, yes, girl, you go, you look amazing, you're so beautiful, and, like, we say that stuff to them because it makes them feel good, and we know that, and because we honestly believe it.
Exactly. And that's easy. I think that's easy for both you and I. We both have that, we love to pour positivity into other people's lives. We live for that. That brings us such joy.
Yes.
And yet, when I stand in front of the mirror and I say some of the things or think some of the things that I do, I think, I wouldn't utter that to my worst enemy, because my worst enemy, if I can't say anything nice, I don't say anything. The old adage. Well, it's true. I'll walk away. I'm not going to speak those words into someone else's life ever. And
Right.
so to do that to myself, don't I think that there's going to be a repercussion? There's going to be an outcome of that that's going to be unhealthy. And
Right.
the longer you do it, the more comfortable you get with that whole scenario. And it's a downward spiral. Not a good thing at all. So yeah, this week has been really good in that sense too. I agree.
Definitely. And it's like, if we can hype up our friends and we can make them feel good about themselves, why can't we do that for ourselves? Like,
Exactly.
obviously, we're not talking about walking down the street like being super prideful and arrogant and I'm better than everybody else. We're talking about when you get ready in the morning and you're looking at yourself in the mirror saying, you know what, girl, you look good today. It's as easy as that. And it sounds funny, and even like,
Oh,
say it
it's so
out loud.
uncomfortable. I
It's-
have the hardest time with it. I do. It just makes me I feel like just laughing at myself. But then that's better than feeling like crying, right?
Exactly. If we can learn to do that for ourselves, just like we do it for our friends, I think
Yeah.
it can really make a big difference.
Something too that I learned early on, and I'm having to relearn it, especially in this element, is the idea that when we're discouraged and depressed and have negative body image and telling ourselves horrible things in the mirror, what's taking up and consuming most of our time and our thoughts? It's me. And what does that boil down to? It's basically pride. And some people say, oh, well, you're cutting yourself down. How can that be pride? Well, pride is thinking of me too much. It's dwelling on me way more than I need to. And,
Yep.
the Bible's full of the caution against pride and what it leads to. Well, that self-consuming, I hate myself, I hate how I look, I'm never going to be able to lose this weight, or, the wrinkles are coming, oh no, what do? I got to go. All of that is just consuming yourself with self. And it's pride, and it leads to destruction. So that's been a real challenge for me, is to remember, I'm not in this world to be consumed with staying young, or being the most beautiful person around, or any of those unrealistic, stupid thoughts. I'm here to bless others, to honor and love God, and to honor and love others. And so when you shift the focus, you kind of takes a comfortable back seat, which is really a good, healthy thing. And it doesn't mean you don't care and that you don't spend time taking care of yourself and looking nice. I mean, I'm been married for 4 decades. I mean, how cool is that? And I want to look nice for my husband. I want him, when he sees me, even if we're just in the house for the day, that I've taken time to take care of myself and get ready for the day and look nice. There are a lot of beautiful women out there, and I would like to attract his attention more than they do. So I have to work at it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Those are good, healthy things. But just to consume with it is what I think we need to remember and use caution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So we're talking about pride, we're talking about body image, all of these things, and it seems so hip and current and, now. I mean, I'm older and I dealt with it a few decades ago. Katie's dealing with it now, but I love this thought that this has been around longer than any of us. I don't care how old you are. It's been around longer than any of us. And the proof, before media, before television, before all of that. Let's go back a few thousand years to King Solomon. He was King David's son. And whether you're a Jesus follower or not, the Bible is so packed full of truth that I am a Jesus follower, and it guides every moment of my life. But there's a story, and if you get a chance to read it, not even a story, go back to the book of Ecclesiastes. That's the book that King Solomon wrote. And it kind of reads like Pinterest quotes. You go in and find all these cool images and beautiful quotes. A lot of those come from Ecclesiastes. People don't even associate them with the Bible many times, but that's where they're found. There's a verse in Ecclesiastes 4:4, and it says, "And I saw that all toil and all achievement spring from one person's envy of another. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind." Now, King Solomon was the richest guy that ever lived. He was the wisest man that ever lived. He had it all. And yet, at the end of his life, and when he looked at what he'd done to achieve what he did and what people used to get ahead, he realized what it boils down to, because you're looking for it for your own gain, it's like chasing the wind. pretty accurate and pretty visual description, right? Have you ever tried to chase the wind and catch it? It's not going to happen. We've been in a few hurricanes, and I don't care, even if it's a balmy breeze, you're not going to catch the wind. So living our lives with that futility, living our lives trying to gain and grasp and get for ourselves, which really, when we're looking at body image and wanting to be perfect, wanting perfection to be our goal, it's like chasing the wind. So the encouragement here, I hope that you'll catch it too, is that there are things that we can pour our life into and give our lives to. Our positivity about ourselves, so that we can move past thinking about ourselves to love others, that's a great goal. But if we're looking at it just to gain for ourselves and build up ourselves and feel good about us, to the point of disregarding others, it's futile, and we need to be really, really careful. Moving on, we're going to go into our final section of this podcast. I'm so glad you guys are here and hanging with us. Thank you. I want you to know more than anything, and Katie and I discussed this yesterday, we've discussed it many times, that you're not alone. If you're struggling, you're not alone. We've both been pretty transparent about our struggles. And we want you to know that no matter where you are on this scale, there are others who feel and can sympathize with you. King Solomon, he sympathized.
Definitely. And people who are still alive can also be right there with you, including us, and our community of people that read our blog and that participate in our stuff. We love them so much, and we would love for anyone and everyone listening to join in and be a part of that, because it is really kind of a powerful movement. We are really trying to take this whole thing of being so far apart in age, but building such a cool community. It's mostly women, I will admit, but it doesn't have to be.
There's a few guys out there.
It's true, there are, and we love them too.
Yes, we do.
But if you are interested at all in being a part of what we're doing and being a part of our community, please, please, please head over to our website, decadesbetween.com. You can like us on Facebook. It's just Decades Between. And you can also follow us on Instagram. It's Decades Between. And we actually have a group on Facebook that is specifically for people to join who are looking for a community when it comes to fitness motivation, health motivation, those kinds of things. There's maybe about 20 people in the group right now, but we would love to build and grow that and have some more really community-oriented participation and really just talk to each other, help each other, share our struggles, give advice, give encouragements. That's really what we're trying to do here, and we would love for you to be a part of it.
I think part of why we created that as well, Katie and I could have just gone on chatting together and enjoying that fully, but we wanted to share what we felt like was happening as a result of our conversations with others and invite people to join in. And we want to learn and grow from what you have to share as well. We want to celebrate with you the little accomplishments, the big accomplishments, and we want to be there for you if there's times of struggle. We are there for each other, and it means so much. And I know some people don't really have another woman or another friend that they can just unload to, and we'd like to be that for you. We feel like God has really blessed us and given us so much in terms of our family, loving us and caring for us, and even just our relationship together. And we would like that to reach out and bless others too.
Definitely. And if you need any kind of individual support, one-on-one conversation, you can always direct message us on Instagram. You can send us a message on Facebook, or you can email us at decadesbetween.com, and we will be checking up on that email, on those Facebook messages, and in those Instagram DMs. We are here for you. We want to help you through whatever it is that you're going through, and we want to be there to support you and to help you out no matter what.
And we get so excited when you post, or anything you say matters. We really love it. We care very much.
It's a celebration.
It's a huge celebration for us.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely. So I want to leave you with one thought. We're talking about let's be careful not to compare ourselves with others. Let's be careful to not be so inner focused that we forget that we're here to bless others and have a purpose in our world. And I love the statement that I read the other day. It was very short, very sweet, but it really was impactful for me. It says, beauty fades, but character endures. So here's to building character as a beautiful community together. We're so glad you're here. Can't wait to have a chance to hear from you. So check us out and respond, and we'll get back to you, we promise. Thanks, guys. Thanks for stopping in at Good Life Cafe. We're so glad you came and chose to stay a while.
Please check out our website at decadesbetween.com. Follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. You can contact us by email at us@decadesbetween.com.